Sit, Coco, sit. Good dog. Hey everyone, it's thrifting time. In this episode, we'll be returning to the shopping center that has the two thrift stores in it. It has a Goodwill, and then just not too far over, there's a Savers. In the last episode, people were asking where this is located, and this is actually pretty much right across the street from Power Square Mall. First, we'll check out the Savers, which is a thrift store that I've just recently started going to. And unlike Goodwill, they still have the glass cases with the good stuff in it, but it's just a handful of video games and a bunch of jewelry I'm not interested in. Holy crap, is that Petrie? This looks like somebody's homemade Land Before Time painting, and that's definitely Petrie from Land Before Time. Looks like this was somebody's birthday present. That is really neat though. I like that. I found this Space Invaders game over with the puzzles and stuff. I collect electronic games, and this reminds me a lot of like those old little Coleco mini arcade games, just a modern version of it, and it's 2 players, which actually sounds fun. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this. Now this is kinda neat. This is a Spellmaster from Franklin Computer, and this is from a time before spell check. I believe this particular model is from the late 80s. It still had batteries in it and it turned on just fine, so I decided to give it a quick test. So I'm going to type in a obviously misspelled word here and hit enter, and then it checks a built-in dictionary list that it has, and then it'll come back with a suggested correction. These shelves have all of these stuff that's in CD style jewel cases, and sometimes there's some computer games and software and stuff mixed in here, and there were some old games mixed in here. This is You Don't Know Jack Volume 2. I actually already have this, so I don't need it, but it's kind of nice to see this here. That's a really fun game. And then they've got Return to Zork, which is a childhood favorite of mine.
Want some rye? Of course you do.
Over in the electronics, I found this interesting keyboard. It's a Freestyle 2 for the Mac from Kinesis. And this is a split keyboard, and it looks like there's mounting points on the back of each side, so you could, I don't know, maybe mount these on either side of a chair or something and make yourself like a weird Star Trek command center. Never seen anything like this before. Now these bring me some nostalgia. These are LabTech computer speakers, and they were never the greatest, but it seems like everybody had these on their PC in the 90s. I've got several sets already, and I'm actually more fond of the green LabTech logo, but these were really cool to see, especially with the batteries not exploded in them. I always have to take a peek in the toy section to see if there's anything old and weird, and I actually did find something pretty old. This is a Camp Putt-Putt playset from Mattel, and you can tell by the box and the picture of that kid's awesome haircut that this is definitely an older toy. It always amazes me when things this old survive for this long in the box and then just all of a sudden end up at a thrift store. I love that the first feature listed is that all of the toys are fire resistant. And look, there's a year on the back. It's from 1973. I'm sure this will end up on eBay. Now this is something I've never seen at a thrift store before. They recently put in these self-checkout lanes, so they don't have cashiers anymore. They just have one that kind of goes around and gives you a hand if you have trouble with the system here. It'll be interesting to see if these self-checkout things pop up at other thrift stores in the future. But now that we're done here, let's head on over to Goodwill. Alright, let's head into the Goodwill that's just a few doors down from that Savers thrift store. This is one of the Goodwills that tries to separate the video games from all the other media, and the first thing that caught my eye was this box that said Space. I didn't recognize that, but then I saw it said Viewmaster at the top, which I'm sure we're all familiar with those Viewmaster little slide binocular things, but this looks like it's for VR headsets that you put your smartphone in. The Smithsonian one might be kind of cool if it's a virtual tour of the museum. But other than that, there was a lot of the typical stuff you see at Goodwill. You've got a copy of Wii Fit there, a bunch of the Kinect stuff for the Xbox. And then there was a couple of PC games here on the end. These hidden picture games, they still sell them at Walmart, and they still, I think, list them being as compatible all the way back to Windows XP still, which is surprising. And then there's a copy of Hoyle board games, which I have a complete in box copy of this already. But I do love seeing Sierra stuff. There were some more games on the next shelf, but a lot of it was, stuff like this sports game for the Xbox 360. Looks like there's a copy of Battlefront for the PS4 there. I don't see a lot of PS4 games at Goodwill. So that's kind of neat to see. Oh, and another Wii game, Jeopardy, and I hate that rendering of Alex Trebek. And then there's this, the Best of Discovery Channel, which I find ironic because to me this was kind of the era where Discovery Channel kind of started to suck. I mostly blame American Chopper for that. I really did not like that show. I found a couple of more games over on the other side with all of the DVDs, but it was just more Wii shovelware like this Pony Friends 2 game. If anybody really starts to try to seriously collect a full set of Wii games, it's not going to be fun trying to track down all shovelware titles like that. And here's a Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. I wonder if this was any better than the film. Probably not. Now over in the VHS section I found something really cool. There's a bunch of Bill Nye the Science Guy episodes on VHS. I don't think these are tapes that like the average consumer could buy. I think these were either sold or leased to like schools and educational institutions. I've never seen that Disney Educational Productions logo before. And these look pretty nice too. There's nice liner notes in there with information about the episode, and I was surprised to see that these say Mesa Public Schools Educational Television on them. That's the school district that I grew up going to school in, and there was a Mesa Public Schools Educational Television channel on TV back then. So they must have used these tapes to air these episodes on that free educational channel. I wonder if these were supposed to be returned to Disney Educational Productions and just never were. I also wonder if these have been sitting in the district offices this whole time, or if somebody else bought these at a surplus sale or something and then just donated them recently. Either way, they're really cool to find, and I'm gonna grab a couple of them. Now over here in the electronics section, I found this effect treatment apparatus, and I honestly have no idea what the hell this is, except for maybe some sort of like quack medicine device. It's got a couple of buttons on it and a knob. There's some more writing stuff on the back. Of course, I can't read this, so if you can read any of that, let me know what this actually is down in the comments. I certainly couldn't tell just by like looking at it. It has a power cable coming out of it, and then it looks like it has another barrel jack for another power cable. That's all I've ever seen those barrel jacks used for, is power jacks. I really wonder what this is. Well, found the abandoned drink, or drinks for the episode in this case. One's from Circle K and one's from QT, so that means somebody saw one of these drinks sitting here and was like, this is a good place to leave my garbage as well. Ugh. There's a stick.
Stick, right?
Electrical. Nice.
Why?
Over in the kitchen area, they had this bacon cooker that claims perfect bacon every time. Meanwhile, the bacon in that picture is the saddest bacon I've ever seen. That doesn't look appetizing at all. That's not perfect bacon. And then up here they had a Hostess mini cupcakes maker and a Super Pretzels soft pretzels maker. Wonder if these were donated by the same people. The pretzels in the picture there don't look particularly appetizing, but it does come with an included built-in cheese melting pot. I think I've made it pretty clear in the past that I'm not a fan of those live, laugh, love type signs. I am a fan of most of the things referenced on this one, but holy crap, this is too much. I mean, I'm a nerd, but ugh. I thought this was weird. A Sleepless in Seattle coffee mug? Is this merch from back when the movie came out? That's weird. Over in the toy section, I spotted a sealed action figure, and it's one from Babylon 5. I was kind of surprised to see that price tag on there. I looked it up on eBay real quick, and that's about what these go for sealed. Maybe in a little bit better condition than this one, though. I'm not really familiar with Babylon 5. I didn't really watch it, so I'm not really familiar with any of these characters or anything, but it's still cool to see an action figure that's been sealed in its packaging for this long. And surprisingly, they had two of them over here. I thought about watching Babylon 5 after I came across these action figures, because that's a sci-fi show that I kind of forgot about. So let me know down in the comments below if Babylon 5 is worth checking out. God. That's what it sounds like when I get punched in the face by an old phone. Although this phone isn't as old as it looked initially. This is from a company called Cetus. I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but I looked them up and it turns out they make hotel telephones and telephone systems. I just thought it was kind of cool because it was red like the Batman phone from the old Batman TV series. It's interesting that this is over in the toy section. Also over in the toy section, I found this, an audio cassette cabinet. This is actually pretty cool and I kind of need something like this, but I prefer the ones that hang on the wall and you just, stick the cassette tapes into the slot so you can kind of display them, but this one was in really good shape. I don't think it was ever used. Now that I'm watching this footage again, I'm kind of kicking myself for not grabbing this. Now, this is fantastic. Over in the board games, they had a NSYNC Backstage Pass game. Loaded with juicy personal facts you won't find anywhere else. Yeah, I'm sure. They're probably completely made up facts. These boy bands were so manufactured. I got a good laugh at the box art on the back too. Look at that security guy. He's just like, security. It's so freaking silly. There had to have been a Backstreet Boys game like this also. Oh my god, even the game pieces are goofy. I got a really good chuckle out of this. It really is a great representation of the year 2000. We're gonna wrap things up with fart, smartass, and toilet fishing. Fantastic. Alright, let's take a look at the couple of things that I picked up. I grabbed this Space Invaders game from Excalibur. I usually like these electronic handheld games, and this one kind of had an interesting display method using those mirrors there, but I actually kind of regret picking this up, but we'll go over that in a second. Let's take a closer look at the Spellmaster from Franklin Computer. Now, obviously I have a modern computer with word processing software that has spell check and everything, so you're probably wondering why I grabbed this. Well, I have an area that I'm setting up in my new place where I'm going to have kind of a retro PC setup, and I've got a couple of old computers and stuff, so I just thought this would look cool on the desk with the old computers. It works perfectly and it's in really good shape. I think that white blemish on the bottom is actually white out, so I'm guessing this thing probably got a good amount of use. I just think it's neat and I think it'll match the aesthetic of my retro computer setup that I'm going for. And now on to this Space Invaders game. I thought this looked really cool when I picked it up. I like Space Invaders and I also like little handheld electronic games like this. And I also wanted to see, how it worked and looked with the mirrors and everything on there. Now before I went to film this, I did take it out of the box, put new batteries in it, read the instructions, I verified that it worked, and as you can see when I flip it over here and actually push the right button, it does turn on and you can see the Space Invaders down there in the mirror and you can kind of get an idea how it works. See, there's the Space Invaders and you can see the little shields and the little ship on the bottom, and it does look like it's kind of cool. And you can switch between 1 and 2 players, however, it just quit working right in the middle of filming. After this happened, I could never get this thing to turn back on again. That sucks. Now lastly, I want to show you a little bit of one of the Bill Nye VHS tapes that I picked up, or at least as much as I can show you without triggering a copyright strike. Holy crap, the colors on that FBI warning. That's one of the most unintentionally vaporwave things I've ever seen. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode of Thrifting Time. As always, thanks for watching.
But it's said that you are what you eat. That's not true. You are what you digest. That's true. So, on the subject of digestion, I cooked up something special in this upper oven. Good heavens! It's Bill Nye, the science guy. Bill Nye, the science guy. Bill Nye, the science guy. Bill.
Want to see your name here? Head on over to patreon.com/retailarchaeology to find out how you can help support the channel. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this episode of Thrifting Time. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and also make sure to follow at the social media links down there because that's the best way to keep up with what's going on with the channel.